Another week, another contract extension at Liverpool for a key player. Rank this one for us in terms of importance.
It's probably the most important. Yes, you can score goals in any team, but if you don't have a good defensive base, then you really are going to struggle. And I think as far as Virgil van Dijk is concerned, he's one of the very best. I remember when I saw him for the first time playing for Celtic, and he looked like Gulliver. He was just towering over every other player on the pitch. Everything he did was so relaxed, so calm, so considered, but so precise. And he just looked like a Rolls Royce of a defender. He took that to Southampton as well, where, again, he was just way too good for the team that he was playing in, for the level that he was playing at. And ever since he's gone to Liverpool, you have seen the difference that he's made. That defence of the Premier League title that fell apart, it fell apart because he was injured in the Merseyside derby. Had he been fit and available, maybe they would have won back-to-back titles and they wouldn't have had to wait as long as they have done for a second one.
I'd say, of course, you're absolutely spot on. We can all look back and say how wonderful he was, Southampton and all the clubs he's played for. Liverpool Football Club, they have to predict now how good is he going to be over the next 2 years. Yeah. How much is that worth? And that is always a big challenge. Now, of course, the fans love him. He's excellent. I agree. One of the best defenders that's ever played in the Premier League. But he's had injuries before. He's had an ACL injury. So if that happens again to him, that would be a big blow. And you know, hopefully it never happens again. But that's what is it worth? And those are the challenges a player past 30 years of age. And Mo Salah similarly. Mo Salah, we can always see when he takes the shirt off how fit he is. With Virgil van Dijk, I sense it's similar. You can only hope both players stay fit for a long time.
I think the only thing I think about with both players is that Liverpool are a club that looks at the numbers, the data, to the nth degree. And they've made really good calls on players they've allowed to leave before, Fabinho, Sadio Mane and one or two others. I think as far as both these players are concerned, and if you look at the bigger picture, a lot of players have really proven their consistency deep into their 30s, both in the Premier League and beyond, obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo being the ultimate one. And as far as defenders per se are concerned, I remember Arsene Wenger's back four in the late 90s that played deep into their mid-30s. Adam, Bold, Dixon, Keown. And I think John Terry played deep into his 30s as well. Rio Ferdinand did as well. So I think there are a number of examples where we can have that confidence. But the big rider, as you rightly say, is if he were to get another injury, what impact could that have?
I just want to add one thing, going back to Mo Salah. With him, he's got such a big following. Nowadays, when you sign players or extend contracts, you don't just look at the performance on the pitch. He's like, how many people do they bring to the club?
Yes.
He's, correct me if I'm wrong, but the biggest sports star in Africa.
Yes.
So it's an easier decision, whereas Virgil van Dijk, you know, he's got a lot of fans around the world, but Mo Salah just stands out. He's such a big name. That's why I think it was easier with Mo Salah. Virgil van Dijk is like, if he's not playing, how much does he contribute to the club's success? Can he still influence the players, maybe the younger ones? But both players, I think it was a good decision, and I'm glad. If I was a Liverpool fan, I would be very happy to have both players for more years.
How much is that commercial value that you're ultimately talking about? How much has this changed to when you were playing in the Premier League? We know that this is now a global brand. Every player is a global brand. The clubs themselves are also looking at shirt sales as much as they are value on the pitch. How much has that changed? Just give us some kind of idea.
Liverpool is one of those clubs who I think they know their data, they look into this, and it does also influence the decision making. It's very important. Not every club has the resources to really spend a lot of money on this, but it does play a big role. But of course, we all know the first and foremost reasons are what do they do in the pitch? Can they score goals? Can they defend goals? And with both players, it's sure those were the main criteria.
Yeah, and you can understand why Liverpool went and recruited Virgil van Dijk, and the money they spent on him has made such a difference. And as the saying goes, defence wins you titles. The proof is in the pudding, obviously. You've both mentioned how excellent he is. Where does he rank, though, in terms of Premier League centre-backs and all-time greats?
Well, I would think he's up alongside the likes of Rio Vidic, Terry. I'd probably go with Terry alongside Terry because Terry was a warrior. You'd have to carry him out on his shield. He was a manager on the pitch, but he was also someone who would put his body on the line. He read the game superbly well when he didn't have that much pace. And yeah, he was just simply outstanding. But Virgil, he's got that calm. He's got, and he transmits that calm to the rest of his backline. He's an organiser as well. He makes so many players around him better with the way that he organises that backline and the midfielders in front of him too. I'd probably go with a tie because I'm a little bit of a chicken and I'm going to sit on the fence.
Yeah, both players, I totally agree. John Terry, but Rio Ferdinand, really good. I would throw in Vincent Kompany in the mix.
Yes, of course.
Similar.
Absolutely.
John Terry, different type of player. The physique's different, but of course he played for Chelsea. He's that, Chelsea centre half that you would always remember. Virgil hasn't been at Liverpool that long, but has had a huge impact. But I think Vincent Kompany is the other name that I would throw in and say they're all up there. It's difficult to say that one outstanding centre half, but they're all pretty decent.
Yeah, I think since Virgil has committed his future to Liverpool, that debate has been raging on the socials, certainly. So, Liverpool go to Leicester, who could be relegated before they kick off on Sunday. Let's hear from both managers, starting with Arne Slot on his captain's new contract.
We want to keep our best players, the players that have played a great season for so many years in a row now, and that we are able to keep them when they are a free agent. Tells you probably the ambitions we have for the upcoming years. Virgil has been so important for us, defensively, offensively, in and around the dressing room. Great personality and a great football player.
What thought have you given that this weekend could be the weekend that you clinch the Premier League title?
The honest answer is no, but I'm not sure if you believe me, but that is the honest answer. My whole life I'm living in the moment, in the day, and I'm not looking backwards a lot and I'm not looking forward a lot because it's the type of person that I am, that I'm not constantly looking back at what I've achieved at former clubs. Or that is also so difficult in football. People constantly tell you try to enjoy the whole journey and blah blah blah, but the only thing as a manager you're thinking of, during the weekend there's a game coming up as well and we need to win that and we need to win the next and we need to win the next.
We live in the reality, so you can see it coming, and we still keep going until mathematically done. But we're going to keep going anyway. As I told you, those 4 or 5 weeks and 6 games for us are huge. They are huge for every individual, and also for the future of this club.
It's an interesting one, isn't it, Darren? Because we'll talk about the fixture itself, but Liverpool have been kind of cantering towards the title. They've known every week that this gap, we need so many points and so many points. But this is the first weekend where really there is championship point.
Yeah, absolutely. And they couldn't have hoped for better opposition to gain it against. Leicester now could be the first team to win 9 home games in a row without scoring in Premier League history. And it's sad to say it, but Van Nistelrooy doesn't appear to have improved any element of the Leicester team. They were above the line when they appointed him and they sat Steve Cooper. They can't defend, they can't score goals. So Liverpool, even in second gear, should be able to go and win this. We talk about them maybe running out of puff a little bit, maybe not looking as sharp as they had done earlier in the season. But I don't think they will have to for a game like this because they just have so many mistakes in them in their back line. I think the one thing they'll have to do is respect the game, obviously, and not turn up expecting to win.
Yeah.
But I think if they do turn up with anything like what we have seen from them so far this season, Liverpool should get those 3 points and leave it just 1 win away.
Because it's not only straightforward, right? You were telling me about some permutations. They need Arsenal to lose. But if Arsenal win and then Arsenal win, just take us through it.
So if Arsenal lose to Ipswich and then Liverpool were to beat Leicester, then of course you've got that scenario.
Yeah, but then if Arsenal don't lose, what happens then?
If Arsenal don't lose, then it continues, because obviously Arsenal have got a game on Wednesday night as well against Crystal Palace. Now we expect them to win that game as well. It is at the Emirates, and I think it will continue on to next weekend. But I think Liverpool are very much masters of their own destiny anyway, and I don't think they've not been a side that has wanted to rely on what anyone else does anyway. They are a side that gets a job done So I expect them to win this game, and
Yeah.
I expect them to win next week as well.
So we're just looking at the earliest Premier League title wins. Liverpool themselves hold the record there, but if they do manage to win it this weekend, it would be with 5 games to spare. Manchester City and Manchester United have done that as well. Thomas, since it's our first time really getting your take on this Liverpool team under Arne Slot and what they are on the brink of doing, just talk us through how you've seen their season and what's impressed you most.
Well, to see Arne Slot coming in after Jürgen Klopp, who's been such a dominant figure as a manager, I was there at the last game last season. I thought, this is really, really impressive what the club put on. They slowed down towards the end of the season. I think, what is Arne Slot going to do? The way he came in, the way he changed the style, it's more economical. It's nice to watch. I've been extremely impressed. It's just a shame what I said earlier. There hasn't been a team that really fought with them very, very hard. But nevertheless, they did what they had to do. And that's why it's sometimes for me difficult to compare where this ranks. But overall, in the first season of a new manager, to also, I thought at some point the Salah and Van Dijk contract negotiation would make life difficult for the entire team, and that never really happened. We heard Salah coming out, at some point criticising the club for, he's more out than in, and under these circumstances, you couldn't have asked for a better management of the team and the club. So very, very impressed. But again, they need to change a few things in order to be up there at the top again next season. Yeah,
and it's quite an interesting fixture itself, isn't it? Where you've got one team on the brink of the title and one team on the brink of relegation.
It is, but you've summed it up. This Leicester side just does not look as if they were capable of doing a good job against Liverpool. On the other hand, Liverpool, they can focus now on finishing the job. And even better for them, if Arsenal lose to Ipswich, then they can secure the title, because I don't think they want to do them midweek when they're at home. So this is, I sincerely think it's well deserved. And I've enjoyed watching them, especially Mo Salah, because when he's injury-free and he's rolling, he's unbelievable.